So Magical Musketeers is one of the best decks that we got from the new box. It is very, very cheap to play, as you will see. We don't even need to use the UR card. You can see the UR card, which is Kid Brave. Yeah, I have 3 copies of this card, and I'm not even using a single copy of it, because the best monster in this deck is in the UR. So even for a expensive version of Magical Musketeers, it is very cheap, because most of their cards are R and N rarity. The only exception is Cross Domination, which is an SR, and you don't even need 3 copies of this card. You just only need 2. But of course, if you have 3, you probably should play all 3. But yeah, this is a free-to-play version. So anyway, what this deck does is very, very simple. You normal summon a Magical Musketeer, and then you end turn. It's that simple. Because all of your Magical Musketeer monsters have the effect that during either player's turn, you can activate Magical Musket spell or trap cards from your hand. So all of your spells and traps become quick play spells even during your opponent's turn. And you can just use them from your hand. So different Magical Musketeer monsters have different effects. Starfire can special summon a monster from your deck if you activate a spell or trap card in the same column. Okay, so every single Magical Musketeer has an effect when a spell or trap card is activated in their column. It can be your opponent's or your own. So what you will usually do is when you will summon your monsters in your opponent's set spell or trap column. So when they flip up their back row, you also get to trigger your own monster's effects. Okay, so Starfire summons from deck. Casper can search a Magical Musket card, not just spells or traps. He can search monsters as well. And Wild can shuffle Magical Musket cards from your graveyard and then draw 1 card. This is very useful because you always want to have Magical Musket spells or traps in your deck for you to search, and you will run out pretty quickly if you don't recycle them. So especially because we're not playing 3 copies of Cross Domination, so you will run out of copies. So this card is really good at shuffling cards and also drawing a card. The extra draw is really useful. And also it's a level 4 monster, and what that means is you can summon it using Starfire's effect, and then you can overlay them to make a rank 4 Xyz. And then Dock is when you activate spells or traps in this card's column, you get to recycle Magical Musket cards from your graveyard. So that's it for the monsters. We're not playing Kid Brave because this card's effect isn't really good enough that we would want to play this card. This card allows you to discard 1 Magical Musket and draw 2. But instead of that, Search is a lot better than just drawing 2 and discarding 1. And it is a UR card, so not everyone has that card. And for the back row, we are playing 4 different kinds of Magical Musket. We have Cross Domination, which is a quick play and it negates monsters' effects, and very useful effect that also turns your opponent's monsters' attack and defense to 0. So because all of your Magical Musket monsters can be normal summoned, they're all low level and they have really low attack. So this card helps you beat over your opponent's monsters and deal a lot of damage. And also if your opponent tries to just attack over your monsters before doing anything, you can just use this card and they will be destroyed by battle, and then you can deal quite a bit of battle damage. And we also have Steady Hands, which is another way that you can beat your opponent's monsters by battle. This card doubles the attack and defense of your Magical Musket monsters. While this effect isn't very good because it doesn't actually disrupt your opponent, and most expensive Magical Musket decks don't use this card, but since this is a free-to-play version and we need 6 spells and traps because of the skill, we will play 3 copies of this card. So usually if you're going first and you open with Steady Hands and not the other quick play spell, what you want to do is a normal summon Casper, and then during your end phase you use Steady Hands on your Casper and then trigger Casper to search a disruption. And for our trap cards, we have triple copies of Desperado. This is a destruction trap. It targets a face-up card and destroys it. Really, really useful as another kind of disruption. And also, all of the magical musket cards have hard once per turn summon. So if you have multiple copies of them, you can't use them all during the same turn. But we still have 2 disruptions with different names, which is really, really useful. And then we have a graveyard disruption in Dancing Needle. This banishes 3 cards from both players' graveyards. You can choose your own if your opponent doesn't have any in their graveyard, but usually you will want to banish your opponent's cards from their graveyard, of course. And it is up to 3 cards. So if they don't have 3 cards, you don't have to banish all 3. This card we are playing 3 copies because this card is really, really good against Infernoids. What makes this deck so good against Infernoids is this card specifically. This singular card makes this deck a very, very good deck against Infernoids. It counters the deck specifically. So we're playing 3 copies. And because, again, this is a free-to-play deck, so we don't really have a lot of expensive staple traps that we can use. So, yeah. There is also another magical musket spell or trap, which is Fiendish Deal, which we're not playing. This card allows monsters to not be destroyed by card effects. But, as you can see, it is a continuous trap. And what that means is, when you activate it, it clogs your back row. And because your monsters want to activate their effects when you activate spells or traps in their column, that will just block your column because it doesn't go away. So we're not going to use that card. And for our last card in our deck, we're going to play Spiritualism because we need 6 spells. And 2 Cross Domination and 3 Steady Hands is not enough. So what Spiritualism does is it removes your opponent's spells or traps before you normal summon your magical muskets. Because if your opponent goes first and they set back row, and when they flip up something like Book of Moon when you try to summon your magical musket monsters, yeah, you will be very frustrated. So we're just playing a single copy to make up our 6 spells and 6 traps. And for the extra deck, it is not really necessary. You won't go into them most of the time, but it's nice to have some options where we can play rank 3s and rank 4s. And most notably, rank 4s are especially easy to get into because Starfire is a level 4 monster that can summon a level 4 from the deck. So yeah, we are also playing some Link monsters from the new box. We have the new Link 4 Amber Whale, we have Nightmare Unicorn, Puzzluminal, which is free to obtain, we have Nightmare Phoenix, and Link Disciple to get rid of those Italy locks. So yeah, the skill we are using is Balance. Balance lets us open with a more balanced opening hand with monster spells and traps in our opening hand, so we don't brick with multiple monsters or multiple traps. And the drawback is that you can't special summon or activate monster effects until the end of the main phase of the first turn. But we can get around this restriction really easily by just activating our spells and traps in the end phase or in the battle phase, because by then the skill will not be active. So what you will usually do is normal summon Caspar in your first turn, and then during the end phase, you will activate stuff like Steady Hands, so you can trigger Caspar's effect to search yourself Cross Domination or a Desperado, or you can search a Dancing Needle if you have both of those cards. Caspar. Oh, we got the worst one. We got the worst magical musketeer. No, that's not good. That's not good at all. That's terrible. No. Assault Beast? He drew the Assault Beast. That's funny. Oh! Normal summon? Bye bye! That's a normal summon. Okay, and then now he's just gonna play Magnet. He's just gonna enter battle. Does he not know that Steady Hands is a card that exists? Or does he think that I don't play this card? And even if I don't play Steady Hands, I can play the other quick play spell that also changes his attack to 0. What is he doing? Yes, Starfire. Normal summon Starfire. Attack! Attack! Well, that was a really quick game. You know, I'd actually prefer a Ningirsu over Unicorn in Salamangreats because it doesn't need a discard. And you don't actually want to discard in Salads. Because, you want to discard very, very early on in your combos, but not after you make a link free. And also, Ningirsu is just better because it also doesn't target. So yeah, it makes sense for him to not play Unicorn. I probably wouldn't play it myself either. Oh gosh, oh Ibli. Just get that out of my sight. Just be gone. To negate. And he's gonna summon his Ibli on my zone, but that's fine because we are actually playing out to Ibli lock. We have a singular copy of Link Disciple, specifically for this purpose. And also another reason to play Ningirsu over Unicorn is that Ningirsu sends your useless field spell, because a lot of the times you won't need to use your field spell that often after you use it once for your Sunlight Wolf. So after you use it once for your Sunlight Wolf and recycle your Salamangreat Circle, you can just send it to your graveyard because it's not really useful anymore. So that cost really doesn't matter that much. Blue Sky. Let's just negate that one. Let's just negate the Blue Sky. Okay, now what's he gonna do? Yeah, he's gonna enter. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. And then let's see. Let's actually, first of all, let's link away our Ibli, so we actually have zones. Yeah, just link away our Ibli. Boom. Okay, now we can normal summon Starfire, I guess. We'll also activate Spiritual Summon, not because we're going to bounce his back row, it's just because we need to have Magical Musket back row in our hand to use our effects. So we can trigger the effect of Casper and grab some. We'll grab the negate and then we'll just wait, we might be able to. We can activate this in this zone. We change it to 0. And then Starfire's effect. Summon whatever. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, we'll just summon this one. And then we can make a link. And I think that's enough for a lethal. Yeah, we can make Nightmare Phoenix, and then that will be enough. I will just attack. Yes! We can make a link 4, but it really does not matter.